Namaste everyone. I am recording this video for the benefit of students who are preparing for UGC-NET law as well as Maharashtra State Eligibility Test, which is the MSET exam, and who often reach out for guidance. Now, I am going to share a 5-step strategy, rather 5 tips using which you can clear this exam. And you are requested to make sure that you follow each one of these points diligently. The first and the most important aspect of clearing this exam would be if you try and understand why this exam is conducted, what is the purpose, right? So if you look at it, you have two exams. One is UGC-NET. This is required if you want JRF, if you want to become an assistant professor in any law school, or if you want to take admission into PhD. Now, these are the three requirements. PhD has been added since the academic year 2024 itself. Basically, this means that if you want to teach full time in a law college as an assistant professor, it is compulsory as of now to clear this examination. Alternatively, you can clear the Maharashtra State Eligibility Test, which is conducted by the Savitribai Phule Pune University. And this is only for the level of assistant professor. So you can, if you want to teach in Maharashtra, each state has its own eligibility test. If you want to teach in Maharashtra, you either need to have UGC-NET qualification or you need to have Maharashtra SET qualification. UGC-NET is applicable all over India. So if you clear this, you don't have to go for the state eligibility test. So that is the advantage. Now, the first exam, which is this UGC-NET, is scheduled in January, right? From January 1st to 19th, the dates are out. So we have about 40 days approximately. We have about 40 days to prepare for this exam. And, we also need to look at the fact that counting from now, how you can have an effective schedule to, but I'll speak about that later. The pattern is very simple. There are two papers in the NET and SET exam. It is very similar. The pattern and the syllabus is common for both. So you have MH SET, UGC-NET, the pattern and syllabus is common. So you have in total, firstly you have paper 1 and then you have paper 2. Paper 1 has 50 questions, 100 marks. And paper 2 has 100 questions, 200 marks. Paper 1, this is common for all, okay? So anybody who is applying for assistant professor, for example, in the field of maths, commerce, it could be biotechnology, any subject, that could be a specialization offered, and that would be a subject available in the NET exam, has to appear for this, while paper 2 is subject specific. So this is your law paper here. So it is different for each stream. So this will have 100 questions and this is subject specific. The exam so far has been conducted online. They did do one offline attempt, but they had to cancel that. So it is scheduled to be online. And for now, there is no negative marking. There is no negative marking for now. So this is to give you an idea about, what this exam is and how you can understand why it is conducted. So the other thing, which you need to understand is the syllabus. So one is, now you have seen the pattern and why it is conducted. Second thing is syllabus, right? So insofar as the syllabus is concerned, you have, let me just pull it out, file. For the subject of law, there are 10 units. You have jurisprudence, then you have constitutional and administrative law, public international law and IHL. Then you have law of crimes, then law of torts, and consumer protection. Then you have commercial law, family law, environment and human rights, intellectual property rights, and IT law. And then lastly, comparative public law and systems of governance. This is for the law paper. These are the 10 subjects for the law paper. Then 10 subjects for paper one are teaching aptitude, research aptitude, communication, comprehension, maths, mathematical reasoning, data interpretation, logical reasoning. Logic is also very important. ICT, which is information communication technology. Then PDE, which is people development environment, higher education. These are the subjects for paper one. So the syllabus is quite vast, particularly for the law exam, because the subjects and the units, that are given over here cover almost all the areas of law and much more, than what you have perhaps studied in the law school as well. So we need to have an effective strategy, therefore, to clear this exam, considering the time that is left as of today. So if I have to suggest a schedule to you uh, to prepare for this exam, I'll just put it over here so that it is convenient for you. Just a second. Yeah. So as I've mentioned, we have about 40 days. That is, we have about 5 to 6 weeks. So let's start week one. If we put it, I'm just tentatively putting it, let's say 24th to 30th November. So this is week one. In week one, I am going to divide it into law, which is paper two, and paper one. What are the units that I will cover, right? And when I'm saying I'm talking as a student. If I were to give this exam, what would I do? So therefore, it is suggested and this is tentative. You are free to follow this approach. If you follow it, you will certainly benefit. Um, I will first pick up Unit 2 and Unit 10. Unit 2 is constitutional law and Unit 10 is comparative public law. So I'm writing the units here, 2 and 10. Constitution law and comparative public law. And for paper one, I will focus on research aptitude or research methodology. Now, this is for the first week. Then you have week two, okay, which is from 1st December to 7th December, tentatively. Here I'm going to focus on Unit 1 and Unit 7. Unit 1 is jurisprudence and Unit 7 is family law, jurisprudence and family law. These two I will take up together. There are many questions asked from this, and there's a reason why I'm specifying these set of subjects together, considering the paucity of time and also considering how important they are sequentially in terms of how many questions have been asked. Okay. Simultaneously, I'm going to prepare here teaching aptitude. In week two, teaching aptitude. Now, please understand this, why research and teaching aptitude I have taken first, and here why I have taken constitution, jurisprudence, family law, etc. first, because many questions are asked. And particularly for this, please focus on both research aptitude and teaching aptitude, because please understand now this exam is open for PhD admissions also. So it is not just people aspiring to become assistant professors, but people who want admission in PhD. And normally in a PhD admission, these are the two areas on which the entrance test would have focused. So this is my belief that, uh, you know, many questions will be asked from this area. Obviously, there is a broad allocation that they have, but I feel like these are the two things, that you should pick up first. Then we have week three. So week 3, which will be from 8 to 14 December. So this is 1 to 7 December. Then this is 8 to 14 December. Week 3, I will focus particularly on unit 6 and 9. And here I will focus on ICT plus communication. ICT plus communication. So unit 6 is commercial law, which is your contract, company law, etc. And unit number 9 is IPR, intellectual property and information technology, right? And where ICT means information communication technology, where they ask you all the questions related to computer, hardware, software, etc. And then communication skills, communication as an element, so the different levels of communication, etc. So this is a separate subject, separate unit in paper 1. So I will take these two together. Then week 4, in week number 4, I am going to focus on units 3 and 8. Unit 3 is public international law, and unit 8 is environmental law and human rights. I think these two are complementary, so they can be done together. Public international law and human rights, environmental law. Along with this, simultaneously, I will focus on theoretical modules, which is people development and environment. Again, this is in paper 1, PDE, people development and environment, and here I'm doing environmental law. So therefore, this is complementary, right? Along with people development environment, I will do higher education, which is in module number, which is in paper number 1, right? Then I will go to week 5. So let's say this is 14 December. This will be 15 to 21 December. This will be 21 to 28 December. Week 5, I will focus on units 4 and 5. These are the only 2 units left. 4 and 5 being law of crimes and law of torts. So law of crimes and law of torts, which is your IPC and BNS also. Please do both. Okay, it's a request. So far, there has been no question from Bharti and Sanita, but you never know. So when you study, IPC, do it from the Bare Act and do the comparative analysis of all the sections. So you have 4 and 5, which is law of crimes, and then you have law of torts and consumer protection act, right? So these two I'm doing together. And along with this, I'm doing all the remaining modules over here, which are more to do with practice, which is your mathematical reasoning, logical reasoning. Here are some things you have to learn in LR, for example, Indian logic. Indian logic, specifically its theory part. Then you have, your DI, data interpretation, and you have reading comprehension, RC. All this, I think, can be done together. And you can lead this up to the preparation. You can continue revision. You can continue the practice till the date of your exam. See, exam can happen on any day. Between 1 to 19th January is the broad day. So it may happen on 1st, so you have to be ready. It may also happen on 19th Jan. So the more dates you get after that, the merrier. But in any case, you should be ready and think that it may happen on 1st January itself. Though it's very unlikely. I think it will happen after 10th of January because normally they start with all those language papers. But anyway, you should be mentally prepared to give it on the 1st itself. So after, you do all this, you are going to revise the topics, you will practice all these, maths, DI related questions, which are very scoring, in that sense, and you have to give an equal balance to both the papers. You can't be just like that, okay, I'll just do law and I will clear it, because it is now not possible for you to score and get into the cutoff list, at least for assistant professor. Maybe you will clear, the PhD part. But at least for assistant professor, it is not possible to only do paper the second paper and not focus on the first paper. You will have to focus on both. And then in the week, so 28th December, your fifth week gets over, and then 28th onwards, till whichever date your paper is, you will continue with PYQ, which is previous year question. I'll write it there. PYQ. You will continue with the PYQ, solving the previous year papers, just to get an idea. Although now I don't think it's going to be very helpful because there is a stark change in the pattern. So your conceptual understanding has to be very clear. And then you can do PYQs. You have to revise the topics consistently. You have to practice the areas which require practice, like your logical reasoning, mathematical reasoning, DI, etc. So this is the broad schedule, which I would say is a 40-day schedule, and it will take 5 to 6 weeks, for you to cover this. First week, 24th to 30th November, I am again focusing on 2 and 3, which is constitutional law, and 2 and 10, sorry, constitutional law and comparative public law. Like that, so it is in that very order of importance as I have just told you. Then the question is that if you do all of this, ultimately, what is going to be the safe score? So you do all of this, right? How much is it that you will have to score now? What are the marks, that you have to get to be able to clearly stand out in the exam? So this is something which is very difficult to say right now because the competition is going to increase. Also, the difficulty level of the paper should enhance every year. It's not going to decrease. Even if it does, the cutoff is going to be high. So, in my understanding, a safe score, target score, which you should keep in mind if you are applying for assistant professor, would be about 210 out of 300 marks. This should be your target. And if you're applying for PhD only, then your target should be 180 to 189. I would say 189 only at the higher range out of 300. Okay. Please don't hold my neck if I go wrong. I will go wrong. I'm just predicting this because, as I said, now many students will give. In fact, I think there is a provision also where 4-year undergrad students also can give this exam. I don't know what they are doing, but anyway. So the point is, more and more students are going to appear, and also considering in the last, shift, it got cancelled, and there was so much chaos. So I think many people could not even appear for it. So there are all of these things which make me feel that the cutoff is going to be higher, and I think this is going to be the safe score, which you are going to, which is going to help you get this assistant professor or PhD clear and qualified. So how to get this score, which brings me to my fourth point, which is you have to do smart study. This is a competitive exam. आपके पास ना इतना time हो, ना इतना effort देना है that you can, literally open, Dr. T.K. Tope and MP Jain and read each and everything. That is not the case. You can't do it, and it is not going to be of any point also because it is a competitive exam. Time is running against you every day. So you are on a timer always and you have to study smart. So how do you study smart? So first and foremost thing which I would say based on, the newer trends and patterns is you have to literally scan the bare app, starting from the index of the bare app, right? You have to know what are the latest. So even the first page, जो bare act का first page होता है ना, उसको भी देखना है अच्छे से, because it says which are the latest amendments, which are the latest rules. You have to be aware. Which are the latest rules? You have to be aware, right? Then you have to be aware of the latest case laws. Latest case laws, especially on points related to family law, domestic violence, I'm sorry, live-in relationships, right? Anything to do with the constitution, latest developments related to, for example, reservation, latest judgments, any evolving area of law, and if there is a landmark judgment, right, you have to read. Here, I would say family law, live-in, and cases related to cruelty. They ask this also, and they sometimes tell you to arrange it in a particular order. So you have to be aware about the landmark cases as well as the latest cases for every topic. So merely studying, as I said, the PYQs or merely reading the Bare Act also for some units is right, but for some modules it is going to be enough. So if I have to, give you some particular subunits where this is going to be enough, which means Bare Act only strategy is going to suffice for you. That is going to be, I'll just write it here, Bare Act, in which all subjects you can study that. So first, hmm, in commercial law unit, which is unit 6, right? So you have LLP, you have the Partnership Act, right? You have the Sale of Goods Act, you have Negotiable Instruments Act. All these minor acts, I think it will be enough if you do it from the Bare Act. Similarly, in the units related to torts, which is 5, okay, in 5, Consumer Protection Act, Motor Vehicles Act, Motor Vehicles latest amendments also, Competition Act, Competition Act. These are the, I think these are the minor acts which you can cover only through the Bare Act. Similarly, I'm just looking at the syllabus. Yeah, in environmental law, this one. Please take note of this. NGT Act, National Green Tribunal Act. Please do this in Unit 8. In Unit 9 also. Unit 9, IPR. Please buy that consolidated Bare Act, which has all the laws. It has copyright, patent, trademark, geographical indicators. So, सारे acts आते हैं ना. You can refer to that. And along with this, IT Act is also very important. IT Act you can only do from the Bare Act. Right? So these are Bare Act only. Similarly, for some subjects, see, for contracts, here I've of course given you, but the major thing is contracts. I've given you the minor act. Contracts and I think Muslim law, these were two subjects for which Chhabwala will be a good reference book. Mumbai University students would be familiar with this. I would not recommend it for other subjects, but for Muslim law, I found it to be very helpful. And for contracts also, of course, Peethawala sir has written it. So there's no doubt about it. It's very good. So some subjects, textbooks, some subjects only the Bare Act, minor acts only the Bare Act, besides latest judgments of each and every, law point that you will find. And similarly, you have to focus even on the sequence. So when you're looking at the index or you're looking at a particular section. So I will give you one example for this. I will just IT Act I have mentioned. No? Yeah. So for example, IT Act here, what they did was they had simply asked in the IT Act, they have simply asked which section it is, section number. So they're focused on section 11, 14, 15, 16, right? Which is attribution of electronic record, secure electronic signature. Then punishments, 66B, 67B, these are the sections, on which they have asked questions. The point is, if you would have just done the index, even without reading the sections, actually, you would have been able to solve. Because, the kind of questions that they ask are like that. Which section speaks about it, or they will ask you to arrange it sequentially. So they may give certain sections like 11, 14, 15, 16. No, they will not give the section numbers. They will do it the other way around. They will say, इसमें से कौन सा पहले आता है? So there is, for example, secure electronic record, security procedures and practices and attribution of electronic record. They will ask you like this and they will say, okay, now arrange it in a sequential order. How are you going to do it if you haven't even seen the index and if you're not aware of the sequence, right? So for every act, before you pick it up, please go through the index, please go through the latest amendment. LLP Act, you will be surprised. They have not even asked about the amendment. They have asked about the latest rule which will be applicable. Now, how will a student know this? Latest rule. When were the latest rules passed in LLP Act? I think it was 2024 or something. So you have to even see not only the latest amendments, but also if under that act, certain rules can be passed. So if you can't buy the Bear Act, it is absolutely fine. You can even look it up online, but please take notes. Take your own notes. That is another important point, that I want to come to. NOTES in your own handwriting. See, I'm also writing everything myself. I could have just done this presentation through a PPT. It may have saved you from my bad handwriting, but the importance of your own notes is why to show that to you, I am also writing everything which I am explaining, right? And I hope you are also writing while you are seeing this video, and you will write everything that you are studying, right? Please develop the habit of writing. I know many students are able to type it, etc. If that works for you, nothing like it, but your memory while you're listening to something or you're reading something, or you're simultaneously writing, there is nothing like it. So, please follow that as a strategy. And even, on day of the exam, you have to follow certain things. So I would suggest please carry your water bottle with you, which is transparent, because your mind may be blown away after looking at the paper. It's a very lengthy paper, so you may need to have water. Similarly, I think you should also, when you're attempting the exam, start with paper two. This is something I would always tell students, whenever they would come to me for guidance, that please start with paper two. There are 150 questions, so you have to start with question number 51, because your mind is more fresh and it is able to absorb the law questions because they are not very simple and direct questions. And you're able to do those questions, and then you can come back to paper one and do the DI and maths and all that. Right? So if you exhaust your mind initially, then law paper may become more confusing for you. Right? So this is again a strategy for on day, which may work well for the students. Um, I'm also thinking to launch a mentorship program, to start a mentorship program very soon for students who are preparing for UGC-NET as well as Maharashtra state eligibility test. NET, as I told you, is happening 1st to 19th January, and Maharashtra set exam, MH set, is likely to happen in March or April. This is the 40th set exam which is going to take place. So because the syllabus and everything is very similar, I thought that maybe I can launch a program like this if students are interested. So if you are interested, and I will see the responses that I get, you can fill the Google form which is there in the group description. Uh, and lastly, despite everything that we have despite everything and every strategy that we have discussed so far, one of the things that you have to remember is, and this is the fifth strategy, fifth tip, it is to stay away from any sort of distraction, is to stay away from any sort of negativity. This is very important because your mind has to be sane during the preparation of this exam. You have to avoid distractions at all costs. Negativity you can't always avoid because it may be in form of people, it may be in form of the content that you are consuming. But try to be positive and seek the blessings of God, of course, the Almighty. Seek the blessings of your parents, and most importantly, please also seek the blessings and guidance of all your teachers, because uh, it is their blessings which will motivate you, and they will act as a uh, how do I put this in words? For me, I'm just sharing my own example because I'm not teaching full time anywhere, but uh, my own professor. So I'm grateful to respected Dr. Rachita Ratko Madam from GLC, respected Dr. Dipali Patil Madam from the Law Department, who have been behind me that you have to get these exams, you have to clear these exams. And I think the blessings of all my teachers, including Dr. Ratko Madam and Dr. Patil Madam, have helped me in reaching this stage. So their blessings can take you uh, miles ahead. Okay, now I got the word. So their blessings, their guidance of your gurus, your parents, and of course the Almighty God can take you miles ahead. And this is just one of the things that will also pass and you will clear the exam. So all the very best. I am ending this presentation with a smiley and a message. All the best to all my students. Uh, and even if you're not my student and watching this video, I hope this would have helped you in a certain way. Thank you so much and take care.